Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mama Christine's podcast, Living Life Through Experience. And why do I call it that? Because that's how we live life, through experiencing different things that help us to grow and help us to learn and help us to evolve from who we were, right? So what are we going to talk about tonight? Tonight we're going to talk about intuition. And not in the sense that I'm teaching you how to be psychic, okay? I'm not doing that. What I want to talk about, because I've had people asking me questions over the past couple of weeks, like about intuition, and I'll get into it. And it's basically, excuse me, helping you to learn to trust your intuition, because when you do, it really helps you to move forward in life. We make life much more difficult than we need to. If we learn to listen to our intuition a little bit more, things will go smoothly. So, of course, I always pull a card, and today's card is peace and harmony. I know the light is like, whatever, but peace and harmony, right? How do we have peace and harmony? By doing what we're supposed to be doing, by listening to our intuition, allowing things to go smoother, allowing things to unfold, allowing things to be clear, all of that, okay? So you'll know that, first and foremost, all of you out there listening right now, you've had a gut feeling. I know you have. We all get them. We all have a sixth sense, as they say. We know things without knowing how we know them. We feel things. We sense things. We hear things, right? All of this stuff happens, and we're going to talk about all of it. And what happens is you get a gut feeling like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right. My gut's telling me not to do it. And then you're like, that's silly. I'm going to do it anyway. And then what happens? Learn to listen to your intuition. Your intuition is never wrong. Okay? So the reason why I ask is the reason why I'm talking about this evening is because, again, I've had a couple of people say to me, like, hey, this is like, okay. So first and foremost, one, okay, was here for a reading with me. And while they're having a reading, she asked me, she's like, hey, so like this has been happening to me. Am I crazy? And I'm like, no, first and foremost, you are not crazy, okay? Crazy is when you hear voices that tell you to do bad things. That's crazy in the sense of mental illness, okay? I'm not a big fan of the word crazy, but I know we all use it. I says, no. I says, when you can hear or feel or sense or see or whatever it is, whatever intuitive piece of yourself works very well, it's your intuition working. It's not a bad thing. It's like if we would learn to listen to it more often, oh my God, life would be so much better. It really would. Because there's so many decisions in life that we have to make, from, what jobs to take, what person to date, what person to marry, how many kids to have, to buy a house, to not buy a house, to travel, to make financial choices and decisions, and, all these different things. And it's like business decisions, like should I start a business? Should I not? Should I, do this? Should I do that? What should I do about this situation? Our intuition would answer every single one of those questions if you would sit still and listen. Okay? Yes, we are meant to go through many different things in life. And again, that's living life through experience. We're going to go through things that are going to teach us lessons. They're going to help us evolve as people, as spirits, as souls. So why is it sometimes things are hard? It's because it's part of a lesson that you need to learn. So if you're going through this lesson and you ask for help, you'll be guided, but you still have to go through it. Okay? It's like going on a roller coaster. You're on the stairs, climbing the stairs to get up to the platform where the roller coaster is. And you're like, this is great. Life is good. Everything's fine. Then you sit in the roller coaster and go, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm going to freak out. You have a friend with you in the roller coaster and says, don't worry, you're going to be fine. I got you. You're going to take this ride. It's going to be scary, but you're going to come out of it okay. And that friend holds your hand through the whole ride. And when the ride's over, you're like, oh my God, I did it. That's life, right? Because think of a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down. It might go around and around. It might spiral. It's crazy. But when the ride's over, you're like, oh my God, I did it, right? So life is like a roller coaster. Things go up, things go down, things spin around, they spiral out of control. But in the end, if we learn to listen instead of fighting against everything that's going wrong, it will go easier. You'll still get your lesson, you'll still understand, you'll still learn something, but it'll be much easier, much more peaceful, okay? Much more harmony, as the card said. So those are the things we're going to just continue discussing this evening. So yes, when this woman asked me if she's crazy, I'm like, no, you're not crazy, okay? If you can hear spirit or you can see things, then by all means go with it. If you're nervous, just go ask for protection from God, from the angels, from whatever. Always be grounded, always ask for protection, and just always listen to your intuition, okay? I had another person very recently who came in for a Reiki session, and when I got done, I says, I sense this and I sense that, and a lot of overthinking and a lot of worry, and then I've been thinking about my job, and I really don't like it. I'm like, so why are you there? Well, I kind of had the feeling I should go, but that reality sets in, or that part of yourself that overthinks and tries to get you to believe that, well, you've only been here for this long, just stick it out, it might get better at some point, right? No. If something does not feel right, then it's not right. I don't care if it's a job that you've only been at for this long, or a job you've been out for years and years and years. If it does not feel right anymore, you gotta let it go. Personally, I've had things in the last 19 years that I have done here at Sisters of Solace that I no longer do, because I feel like it's brought to my attention to do it for a specific amount of time to reach certain people, and then after that, that purpose is done. It's the next thing comes up. So not to say I change everything I do, because I have been specifically a Reiki master and an angel card reader for the 19 years. And there's other things that come in between that I help people with. And I think those things are just meant to happen for a specific amount of time for the specific people. And then after that, it's done. So I know, I listen. When I feel like this isn't working, why isn't this working? I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore. It's time to move on to something else. Because even the things that I do, I find not only help you as the client that comes in for the service or the class or whatever it may be, it helps me as well. We all learn through all these things. So I just continue to keep following my purpose and following what my guidance is telling me and going after it, just like this podcast. I do mini videos every day, but I kept hearing, you should do a podcast, you should do a podcast, you should do a podcast. And your podcast is going to go from you to doing interviews with people and questions and all these different things. And I just evolve as it feels right. Just like I kept feeling like, you got to write another book, you got to write another book. I've had people come up and say, you should write another book. I'm like, okay, I get it. I have started my other book. So how long is it going to take? Who knows? But you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right. So listen to intuition. So yes, if you're feeling that strongly about not wanting to be where you are, time to move on, this isn't the right place for me, whatever it may be, then follow that. Life is not absolute. It's, again, I've mentioned this before in other podcasts and with students and clients and whatnot. Life is not a perfect thing of you're born, you learn life until you're, an adult. You finish high school, you go to college, you start a nice career, you meet a nice person, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house with a little picket fence and a dog in the front yard, and everything's hunky-dory, right? No, it does not work that way. Maybe, 100, 200 years ago, when you were forced to live that way, we're not forced to live that way anymore. We're here to live our lives, our own personal lives. And if your life takes you from high school to just working full-time, then that's where it takes you. If it takes you to college and then career, and then if I have somebody, great. If I don't, not a big deal. Or if I have somebody and we don't want to get married, then that's okay too. You want to have kids, then have kids. There's no absolute. Years ago, it was like, you don't jump from job to job. It shows you how either lazy or whatever you were because you couldn't stick to one thing. And it's like, that's not the case. Many times people leave a job because they haven't found what's right for them yet. Back with my dad worked for the same bloody company for 42 years, over 42 years. And it was like, he liked it. Well, good for you, but not everybody has that. Not everybody can say that they started a job and loved that job and did it for 40 years and retired. You know, if it's not sitting right with you, then don't do it. You know, because many times, especially, you know, when they say young people, what do you want to do when you grow up? You know, everybody comes out with, oh, I think I want to do this, but nobody's really sure. And I know people that have gone to college and learned how to be this, and then before you know it, they're doing this. And it's like, that's not even what you went to school for. It's like, no, because that doesn't make me happy. This makes me happy. And I followed my heart, and my heart brought me here. So you never know. You never, ever know. But if you listen to intuition, it will take you where you need to be. Again, so this woman said to me, you know what? You're right. I need to stop overanalyzing everything, stop overthinking, and just trust myself. And if it's not right for me, I need to move on. And it was so funny because talk about intuition. In my head, I can hear, get the cards, get the cards. And I took a specific deck of cards and I just fanned them out on the table and I says, you need to pick one. Just to finish this off, I want you to pick one. And I don't do this with everybody, but it was just, they were in my head, pick the cards. And when I laid them out, this one card seemed to be glowing. And I heard, that's the one. And that's all I heard in my head. And as she reached down, that's the one she grabbed. She flips it over and says, let go. It's time to let go, right? So there's your validation. Intuition is a beautiful thing. It's not all about reading cards for people or, you know, being that psychic or a medium or whatever. Intuition is learning to use and trust your own abilities to guide you through life. Okay? I've been in one car accident my whole life, and it's only because I didn't listen to my intuition. As I was coming home, I could hear someone, like somebody was in my backseat yelling, take the highway. So of course, you always have that option of back roads home or take the highway. And I was in the left lane, so I couldn't cut over. And I'm like, And I heard, take the highway the second time really loud. Like, I swear you, I turned around to see if somebody was in my backseat. And I'm like, I can't get over. What am I supposed to do? I could have gone further, made a U-turn and came back, but I was like, whatever. And I kept going. Well, I went all the way to the end, to the lights, took a left down the main drag where my business is. And sure enough, there's a store. And I look ahead, and there's an older gentleman in his car, and he spots a parking spot, and all I heard was, oh my God, don't you dare. And sure enough, he pulled right out in front of me as I got there, and I boom, right into him. Luckily, nobody was hurt, everybody was fine, and whatnot, but if I had listened and took the highway, that wouldn't have happened. Learn to listen to your intuition. How many of you have been somewhere doing something and I don't know, my gut's telling me this isn't right. And what do? And you do it anyway. And then what happens? Oh, I should have listened to my gut, right? We all do it. So listening to your intuition comes in many different forms. Okay? So I'm going to start with clairvoyance, clear vision. Okay? Now, does it mean you're going to see spirits or ghosts walking around? No. Clear vision means you can see things in your mind's eye, which many times when I'm doing readings or doing Reiki, I get a clear vision in my mind's eye of something or someone. And then I give it to that person. Clear vision is also dreams. When you have dreams, you pick things out of the dream that are significant. So if there's numbers, certain colors, animals, do a dream interpretation. I usually use dreammoods.com. I love their site. Usually I just look up in the index for whatever I've dreamt of, and usually the description is like right on point. So I use that. Clear vision can be seeing things outside of yourself. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I can remember when I was going through my divorce, things were going a little crazy and being dragged out, and it was just craziness. But anyway, for the most part, I trusted and believed that things would be happening soon, things would go okay, things would be fair, and so on and so forth. But at some point as a human being, you're just like, so frustrated with how things are going. And I just remember driving through the city, and I just yelled in my car. I said, would you please send me a freaking sign that this is going to be okay? I've had it. I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. And all of a sudden, its little voice goes, look left. And I was at a stoplight, and I look left. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. It was a whole billboard. And the billboard was completely black with white letters that said forgiveness. Meaning, let it go. Because I was holding on so tight that I was allowing that energy to get me frustrated and angry and sad and all that. And yes, we can do that, but I was holding it. I wasn't letting it go. And it was like, let it go. Trust and believe. Let it go. I'm like, okay, fine. So yes, you can actually physically visually see things outside of yourself, like finding coins, pennies from heaven, feathers, seeing a butterfly, seeing repetitive numbers, seeing animals. All those things are messages and signs from the other side. So yes, that is clairvoyance. Now, clairaudience, audio, right? Clear hearing. Now, people say, oh my God, do you hear spirit talking to you? I'm like, I do, but not outside of myself. Inside, I hear it. So yes, I've heard voices outside of myself, like in the car with the accident. Take the highway. It was like somebody was in my back seat yelling at me. But for the most part, when I hear spirit, I hear it inside my head. So as I'm talking with a client or whatever, all of a sudden in my head, I'll hear a sentence like, remember the time when you fell, and dropped your cake? I'll just say that. I have no idea. So the person will be like, oh my God. Yeah, I remember that. I'm like, oh, that's what I just heard. But I heard it in here, okay? Same thing with clairvoyance, the vision. I can see spirit, but I don't see them like I'm looking at a living person, okay? I don't see them outside of myself as a living person walking around the room. How I see spirit, and I explain to people, this is probably how most people would see them, is I can look in a certain direction in my room and say, oh, there's a man over there, but I see the picture here, but then it's almost like an overhead projector, and it transforms the picture I see here outside of myself to the energy in the corner, meaning this person is standing there. That's how I see, okay? So clear seeing, clear hearing. Clear hearing can be outside of yourself. You could be at a restaurant or coffee shop and you're like, I don't know, maybe mulling over some stuff you want to do or decision making you have to do, and you overhear a conversation like a table or two over, and you swear that they're talking about what you need to know. You know what I mean? That is clairaudience. Somebody out of nowhere just coming to say something to you that makes you feel better or makes you know that they're talking about what you're thinking about. Because you never know how many times does a stranger walk up to you and just say something random and you're like, wow, that was weird. Why'd they say that? And it just happens to coincide with what you're working on or thinking about or trying to figure out. So that's different ways of hearing things. Hearing music. You can be driving in your car and a specific song will come on and you'll be like, oh my God, that reminds me of my mom. That's usually because mom is sitting right on the side of you in the car and making the music come up in a way that you start thinking about her so she's with you, okay? So hearing the music, hearing conversations, hearing sounds, seeing things, those are two different ways that we get a lot of messages. The next one is claircognizance, thoughts and ideas that pop out of nowhere, okay? You don't even have to think about it, it just shows up. That's claircognizance, okay? And that can be like, you could be just sitting around, maybe watching TV or something, and then all of a sudden you're like, I should go do that. Like, boom, out of nowhere, just pops, right? Listen to that guidance, because that is somebody on the other side. Again, it could be a spirit guide, it could be an angel, it could be one of your loved ones, it could be anybody. It could be, you need to change jobs. You know what? I need to change jobs, right? It just comes, okay? So listen to the voice, listen to that thought that pops in out of nowhere. It's also about clear knowing, okay? You ever do something and not know how you knew how to do it? I've put things together not knowing how to put them together, but yet I put them together and somehow knew how to do it. I know it sounds confusing, but it's a clear knowing, okay? Clairsentience is clear feeling. Now this one is wild because this is a big part of me too. I am an energy person. I can sense things with energy like you wouldn't believe. You can tell me the name of somebody you're questioning, and as soon as you say their name, I go, yeah, no, mm-mm. Or yeah, they're fine. Ever walk into a place and you walk in and go, I don't like it here. It doesn't feel right. Okay? That's clairsentience. If you're in a space that makes you feel sad, it makes you feel angry, anxious, all those things, okay? Walk away. You walk into a place, your hair's standing on end, on your arms, right? Yeah, no, I don't like it here. You can meet people the same way. You meet somebody, you go, yeah, something about that person I don't like. And of course, a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's so mean. I don't even know that person. I shouldn't even judge. Your intuition isn't wrong. It's not judging. You're trusting your intuition to tell you like, So if you're trying to date or whatever, when you meet somebody, or if you're online dating, and right away your intuition goes, red flag, don't do it. Don't go, hi, and start talking to the person. And before you know it, you're in a mess of stuff like, oh God, I got to get rid of this person, right? Trust your intuition. It's not wrong, okay? A lot of times I've had things happen over the years. And for me, I can use all those senses. For you, you may be somebody who is very in tune with your vision, or very in tune with the hearing, or very in tune with the feeling, the sensations that you get. So you'll figure that out for yourself, what works best for you. But if you practice listening or feeling or sensing or just trusting your intuition, you're going to find that all of them are going to work very well. Okay. Another one is smelling. It has its own specific name. I can't tell you what it is. Because it's not a term I use very often. But clear smelling, which means if you've ever sat around and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can smell my mother's perfume, right? Or my dad's cologne, or the cigarettes, or the cigar smoke, or whatever it may be, something that connects you to the person who passed away. That is also a sense of intuition. Why? Because guaranteed you're probably the only person who can smell it. I have had that happen many times. I remember one time sitting down to have dinner with my husband at the time, and we were eating chow mein, and all of a sudden I don't like vinegar, and I had a whiff of vinegar go right up my nose, and I was like, oh my God, what is that? And he's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh my God, that vinegar. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you can't smell that vinegar? He goes, there's no vinegar here. I'm like, I know there's no vinegar here, but I can smell it. It's in my nose. It's burning my nose. I can smell it so bad. He goes, yeah, no. I'm like, oh. So I'm like, okay, why am I smelling vinegar? Because of course with me, it's like, okay, intuition, ding, ding, ding. I can smell vinegar. There's a reason why I can smell it and he can't. Somebody's here. And I'm like, why am I smelling vinegar? And all of a sudden this thought process went right across my brain that said, his mom always put vinegar on chow mein. And I went, did your mom put vinegar on chow mein? He goes, oh yeah, all the time. I'm like, oh, that's why. Your mother's here. And he goes, oh, that's funny. Today's her birthday. Ta-da, right? There's always a way of connecting the smell with somebody on the other side. A lot of times people who like to pray or pray with Mother Mary, okay, the Blessed Mother, many times will say that they can smell roses because that is her smell, okay? For my mom's middle name is Rose, so a lot of times I would smell plastic roses. If any of you remember those. Years ago, like especially when I was a kid, that you get little, a bouquet of roses, but they were plastic, and they had this god-awful smell that was supposed to be roses, but it was just not pretty. That's what I smell. I'll smell that, and I go, okay, Mom, can we go back to something else? Because that just stinks, okay? So yeah, there's so many different things. There's also one that has, a funky name that I can't pronounce, but it's clear tasting. And sometimes, and it's never happened to me, but people have said that they suddenly got a taste of something in their mouth. Like, I don't know, you could say chocolate, okay? Or a specific pie. Like, oh my God, I can taste chocolate in my mouth. that's another way they like remember, because I know like my grandmother always had little Hershey Kisses on the table, so that was a memory that we had, that when we went to her house there was always Hershey Kisses. So that would be something, so if it's ever happened to you, like I said, it's more rare, but it does happen. So don't freak out if it does happen. Okay. No worries. So your intuition, definitely using all of those senses I talked about, it's definitely beneficial if you're trying to figure something out. So like this woman I talked to about, leaving her job. I kept feeling like I need to go. I feel like it's not right for me. I'm like, exactly, feelings, Again, we get stuck on the old ways of living, that you're supposed to stick things out. You're supposed to stay put. You're supposed to keep in one place. And it's like, no, life is not that picture perfect design that old society said we're supposed to do. If you're not happy in your job, then go. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be miserable in your job. That energy is going to transfer out of work into your personal life, into your home life. And then your whole life is crap. And then you think, okay, the marriage is no good anymore, or the relationship is no good anymore because it sucks. It's not the relationship, it's the job. You know what I mean? So find that core issue that is creating that unbalanced life that you have going on. So if you're questioning whether or not you should stay at your job, that's your intuition saying, hey, should you stay there? I think you should need to go. If you've got to question it, then obviously you're not happy there, right? So start looking for another job. Stop worrying about what society says. Stop worrying about mom and dad are going to say, or your friends are going to say. You got to do what's right for you. I'm not saying, because a lot of people say, well, isn't that lazy, or isn't that this or that? There's a difference between somebody who's lazy and just doesn't want to work, and somebody who's just not happy with where they are or what they're doing. Because we all have a purpose. And if you're doing a job because it pays the bills, great. But is it fulfilling a purpose for you? Do you feel like you belong there? This is your space. This is what you're supposed to be doing. If you're like, no, then guess what? Keep going. You haven't found it yet. I didn't find where I was supposed to be until I was 38. And this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. So I spent from 17 to 38 different jobs, doing different things. I didn't go to college. I was not a school person. Now I don't mind learning things I want to learn, but sitting down and doing, English and math and science and all this so I can be that. And it's like, what does all this have to do with that? But they make you do it. And I'm like, that's not for me. If I want to learn something, I'm going to learn something that I want to learn, and just that, without all the extras for no reason. So, I did customer service. I did retail. I did restaurants. I did managing. I did, oh my God, healthcare. I did so many different things. And it's like, I could never settle with one because it seemed like it would serve its purpose. And it's like, okay, now it's time to move on to something else. Until it got me to where I am now. And where I am now is I'm a business owner with my sister. But again, all the manager experience I learned over the years helps me to run the business. Customer service, obviously, because I'm always meeting with clients. Just everything I did in all my jobs from 17 to, I'll say 33, because that's when I had my son, because I stayed home for a little bit. All those things I did helped me right now with what I'm doing. So yes, taxes, paperwork, money, managing, rentals, all that, because we rent out rooms here to other people. All of it helps me right now. So never question everything that you're doing, because it's going to benefit you one way or the other. And that, again, is when you have to start trusting your intuition. So now, that's a job. What about a relationship? You're always questioning your relationship, or you're always making excuses for your relationship. Now, whether it's a romantic one, a family one, or a friendship one, I'm putting them all together one pile, because a relationship is a relationship no matter how you look at it. So let's say you have a friend, okay, or even a significant other, okay. I'm going to say friend, and it's going to cover the whole thing. You're always the person to do things, and the other person never reciprocates. And, you know, you're always giving, they're always taking. And it's like, in your mind, that intuitive piece of yours is going, this doesn't make sense. Why am I always giving, and not getting anything back? You know, not that we give to expect to get it back, but there's got to be a balance there somewhere. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, okay, what's going on? Now, you can either say, hey, you know what? We need to talk. I think things are off and it's not right. And I want to discuss it with you. Or you find yourself in a position where you don't want to lose said friend or significant other because you're afraid of letting go. You're afraid of what's going to happen. You're afraid of what they might say. You're afraid of what other people might say. I mean, especially if you've been in a friendship or a relationship for many years, you know, it's like, well, my God, what happened? You guys have been friends forever. And it's like, well, maybe I was friends forever because I was always giving, not getting anything back. And they refused to see it. And no matter what I said, I was wrong, they were right. And maybe for years I was just making excuses for that person. Well, you know, they're busy, or they're going through a lot, or, oh, it's okay, I don't mind, blah, blah. Relationships are relationships no matter what kind. And it takes 100% from each side to make it a relationship. Friendship, family, or romance. Does not matter. So especially in romance, because that's where a lot of people get stuck, because yes, people do not want to be alone. I can tell you, I've been alone for 11 years and I'm okay with that. I've dated a couple people, didn't work out, wasn't my person. Off you go, bye-bye. But I wanted to be alone for a long period of time. And I don't mean the whole 11 years, but I mean, I wanted to spend time alone because I wanted to heal from my loss, my grief of my marriage, okay? I wanted to heal. I wanted to heal the hurts that happened throughout my marriage. I wanted to heal anything and everything I needed to heal, and I wanted to focus on me. And with my intuition telling me, no, just, you need to be you. You need to figure out who you are, figure out what you need in life and what you want in life, and go with that, okay? So sometimes that's what needs to happen, but many people are afraid to be alone. Oh, I can't be alone. I don't want to be alone. I don't like being alone, you know? But what happens is you never take the time to heal in between relationships or friendships or whatever. And one may end and you may be sad, you may be grieving, but the minute somebody pays attention, you jump over. And it's like, whoa, slow down. You haven't even healed from this relationship and you're already jumping into the next one. Well, he makes me feel great, or she makes me feel great. And it's like, well, because it's new. Every relationship feels amazing in the beginning. It's new. Does it stay amazing? That's the difference. If you don't figure out who you are, you're never going to figure out who you're worthy of receiving. Because wherever you are, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, that's who you're going to attract. So if all you do is just let go of one and move right on to the next one, you're not changing anything. If you take the time to be alone for a little bit, you're going to notice there's a huge difference. So how I explain to people is, think of it this way. When you're alone, you learn to heal and you learn to love yourself. When you love yourself, you can fully love someone else. Because many times what we're looking for is someone to fulfill that void that we have in our hearts. Everything about that person can be wrong, but if they have that one thing that fills that void, we hold on. We hold on. I don't want to be alone. I can't let him go. I just, it's okay. It's fine. No, it's not fine. Nobody ever told you to settle. This is your life. So maybe part of your living life through experience is to learn a lesson from this experience and do better. You are worth way more than you give yourself credit for. Your intuition will tell you, because it'll be going over and over in your head like, I shouldn't have settled. I don't think he's the right one. I'm questioning everything. And it's like, if you're questioning everything, think about that. Think about that. Because if it's right, it's just right. If you're questioning everything, yeah. So pay attention. If you need a sign, if you need help, if you need guidance, a message, then you know what? Ask for it. Ask. Okay? So for example, when I was going through my divorce, I knew in my heart this is what I needed to do. This whole situation just was no good anymore for me, the kids, anything. It was just so off balance. And I'm like, I'm done. But that 0.1% of my ego was like, are you sure? Because you're going to question yourself. You are. That's normal. That's our human self. But I was 99% sure that this is it. I'm done. That 1% was my ego needing validation. So I said, okay, I'm going to satisfy my ego. All right, guys, I need validation. Help me out. If I am on the right path and I am leaving because it's no longer serving me or my kids or anything, and this marriage is done, it's over, I want you to send me a sign, and I want a big white feather like this. And this is what I did. A little feather, and I don't want a feather from your pillow or your jacket. I want a big white feather if I'm to continue on my own and just leave this marriage. And if not, and mind you, I have tried everything at the time, talking, working things out, trying to go to counseling, all of it, none of it worked. And I'm like, but if you think there's a chance, then send me a heart, and I will do something somehow to see if we can fix this. I worked all day, and when I left, I went home, and as soon as I walked in the door, my daughter was in the kitchen and yells, "Hi, Mom, you're home. Oh, come here. I got to show you something. I found something for you." And that hit me funny. Like, wait a minute, you found something for me? What are you talking about? I walked around the corner into the kitchen, and she is standing there, no word of a lie, with a white feather this big. I still have the feather. And I'm like, where did you get that? She goes, it was in the backyard. I'm like, we don't have any big white birds in the backyard. We have no big birds. Even if you consider a hawk, I don't even think their feathers are pure white. This feather was pure white, and it was about 6 to 7 inches long. It was big. And she goes, it's for you. I was like, thank you. And then I was like, thank you. I got my answer. If you're stuck and you don't know and you feel like you can't trust the noise or the mixed conversation going on between your heart and your head, ask for a sign. Ask for a sign. And if you're one of those people like, I never get signs, like you know how many signs you get every single day? Every day. People don't see them because they're too busy. You're at work, you're with the kids, you're with the hubby, you're with this, you're with that, you're with friends, or your mind's just rattled because of things that are going on. Ask for a sign and say, hit me in the head with it because I don't want to miss it. You have to trust your intuition. Ask for the signs, ask for the help, ask for whatever you need. Ask and you shall receive, as they say, right? Very true. Another big story for you. Trusting your intuition. So, when Sisters opened in 2006, we made 6 years there. I want to say by the time we hit 5.5 years, I started hearing in my head, you need to move. This thought would pop in, you need to move. You need to move. I'm like, oh my God. I told my sister, I said, I think we need to move. I think we need a bigger place. She goes, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, validation. Thank you very much. Okay. Therefore, we started looking. And I decided personally, I'm like, you know what? Why don't we just buy a place? I'll buy a place. And we'll put the business in it. And we don't have to worry about paying rent. We'll have a mortgage, yes, or I'll have the mortgage. But for me, it felt like very strong. I needed to buy a place. So anyway, we went and looked at a place here in Westport, and I remember falling in love with that place. Every time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's big, it's beautiful. It's like a farmhouse, and it was really nice, a lot of property. And I went and looked at it knowing it was $700,000. Now, of course, back in 2011, the end of 2011, that was a lot of money. And I'm like, why am I looking at this place? I will never in my lifetime spend that kind of money on a property. First of all, the house was wrong. The house would have been like where the services were, massage, Reiki, readings, so on and so forth, because you can transfer all the rooms into someone's treatment room. But the ceilings were too low. My ex at the time, when he was there, He's 6'5", and he could barely walk through the house because the ceilings were so low. I'm like, no, this isn't right. Then it was a 1 laneway in, which was probably 1/8 of a mile or just less. That would have had to be widened because, God forbid, somebody was trying to leave and somebody trying to come in at the same time. There was no way to move or get around each other because it was so narrow. I'm like, so now you got to move telephone poles. You got to widen the road. And then, I said, well, there's a big barn. We can use the barn as an event center, yoga center, all that. And it was like they had steel beams like this thick for horses. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be like $1 million to cut down steel beams to make an event center out of this. This isn't right. What is going on? Why am I here? The roof was sagging. This was wrong. That was wrong. I'm like, why am I here? And then I watched the real estate agent for the sellers waving around papers as she's talking. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's that? And it was this place right here. I had seen it online, but you don't get much of a visual just from a few pictures. And I was like, oh my God, I want to go see that. Now, mind you, when we kept hearing, you need to move, you need to move, you need to move, I says, look, I'll move, but I'm staying in Westport. I'm not leaving Westport. I said, I want a place that's bigger, 3 times the size. I said, I want the 3 treatment rooms, because at the time it was my room, my sister's room, and then Karen, a good friend of ours, she was renting from us. I said, so we still need 3 rooms. But I said, I want a couple of classrooms for events and classes and what. I want to be facing the street. I don't want to be in the back of the building. I want a big parking lot. I said, I don't want to spend any more money on rent. I want to pay no more than what we're paying now. And just let it be easy. That's all I said. That is all I said. So mind you, now the woman gets us an appointment here at this building. And the day came to come look at it, and as my sister and I pulled in, she pulled in first, I pulled in behind her, and right between our 2 cars as we drove in, a hawk flew right down between her trunk and my front bumper, like right down between us. And I was like, whoa, did you see that? She was like, yeah. So now I park the car, I get out of the car and I look, and there's a balcony on the front of the building for those of you who haven't been here. There was an angel flag hanging off of it. I do angel readings. I work with angels all the time. I'm like, sign number 2. Now we come in and we look at this main floor, and there's 1, 2, 3 office spaces, 3 treatment rooms. Big open space to one side, another big space on that side, 2 classroom event spaces. Facing the street, big parking lot. Now I have 2 apartments upstairs. Between the 2 apartments paying rent and sisters paying me rent, I was living rent-free from 2012 till now. The mortgages were paid by the rents. So my house mortgage was paid for because I borrowed money against my house to put down on this, and the rents paid the mortgage here. It was a win-win. But the funniest thing is, I always ask for my signs in 3. So the hawk, the angel flag. Now, after we see everything, the apartments and everything, we go outside and we're talking with the real estate agent. Now, mind you, it was the middle of December, like 2.5 weeks before Christmas. And I know you're probably thinking, like, who buys property at Christmas? I do. Anyway, we're standing outside. My sister and I are standing side by side, and we're talking with the real estate agent. Now, in the middle of December, it was a mild December, but still, it's December, okay? I look down, and ready? Big blue dragonfly, no word of a lie, this big, flew right between us. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I'm like, no freaking way. There's no dragonflies in December. So right away in my head, I'm like, okay, if that dragonfly was my 3rd sign, you make it fly by 2 more times, so I know it's 3 times it flies by, that's my 3rd sign. And I swear to God, that thing flew back by and back by again, and I said, get me the paperwork, I want this. And that's all it took. I trusted my intuition, I trusted my gut, I trusted my feelings, I trusted the signs. It felt so right. And I can tell you, we have been here 13 years. I still own the building. We still have a business. I still get my rents in, and I still live rent-free. Right? So what? Win, 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 right? All because I listened to my intuition. So yes, have there been times I don't listen? Yes, I got into a car accident because I didn't listen. I wanted this building and I listened and everything worked out and it was perfect and I felt it and I went for it. But there's a million other things as well I have done and asked for guidance, asked for messages, asked for whatever I needed, asked for signs, and they have been there. So start trusting your intuition. Thoughts that pop in out of nowhere, okay? Conversations you're having with yourself in your head, because what's happening is you're like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, I could do that. You're answering your own questions. That's them telling you. It's going to sound like you because it's your body, right? Your body, your head, your voice. Trust it. Start a intuition journal. Anytime you have a thought or an idea, start writing it down, and anything that feels connected to it. I don't care if you see an animal outside and while you're out and about, if you're in your house and a little spider comes down right in front of you, look all that stuff up. Just Google it. The spiritual meaning of a deer, a spider, a rabbit, a whatever, okay? Do what you got to do. Get your messages, get your signs. You're going to get your answers, whatever it is, okay? But start that journal, because once you start the journal, you start jotting down those things that you're getting, you're going to find that what happens is you look back and go, oh my God, I was right. I listened and I was right. Oh, this happened. I didn't listen. It fell apart. You know what I mean? Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust your gut. Trust all of it. You know, because especially when you're trying to do something new, say start a business or a new adventure of sorts, and it's like you want to go, but yet you feel like you're being stopped. Like everything is in my way every time I try to go forward. Why? Either it's not the right time or you're not in the right space or not doing the right thing. But ask for guidance and you'll get it. So with that being said, I'm going to stop here because I could talk for hours about intuition. I've given you everything you need to know. Start a journal. Trust, believe, listen, feel, sense, know, all of it, okay? Your signs are there, your messages are there. No matter what's going on in your life, ask for guidance, ask for help, ask for assistance, ask for a sign, whatever it is. Your angels will help you, God will help you, the universe will help you, your guides, your loved ones on the other side, okay? All of it. They are there for you. I'm here for you. So if there's any questions ever about intuition, feel free. There's also on our website an online class that you can take that I created that teaches you more so how to work with your intuition. It even gets into working with cards a little bit. And not so much so you can be a psychic and go read cards for people. You can if you want to. But more along the lines of for yourself. So for example, if any of you out there have cards, then you know what? Every day say, hey, what do I need to know today, angels? And just boom, pick a card, right? Pick a card. And you'll notice that the same card keeps coming up. It's because you're not listening. They're going to keep showing it to you until you get it. So thank you so much. Check out my online course at sistersofsolace.net. Go down the left side on the tabs. You'll see online courses. And I have an intuition class there. I also have my new manifesting class on there as well. And you can do it right from the comfort of your couch at your own pace, whatever it is. But I do a lot of videos in each chapter. So this way it gets more, it's like this, you know, more connected, more personal, really giving you more details than what you can just type, you know. But yeah, you know, check it out. It's there if you want it. Again, any questions, send them to me, sistersofsolace@yahoo.com. You can leave them in the comments here on Spotify or on YouTube if you're watching there. Whatever you want to do, social media, I'm all over the place, Sisters of Solace, or, you know, whatnot. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Blue Sky, Lemonade, you know, I'm there. So wherever, you'll find me. But yeah, but thank you guys for listening. And again, life is easier when we learn to listen to our intuition. You know, it's better than sitting there hitting the wall all the time, not knowing what to do. And one last thing I will give you is a PS at the end of my letter here, is when working with your intuition, make sure you breathe. Because if you're holding your breath, and I don't mean holding your breath, but when we get agitated or nervous or frightened or, you know, feeling fear or, you know, whatever, worry, we tend to hold our breath. We're only breathing to live. We're not breathing so that we have energy. So if you find that you're not getting anywhere, you have no clarity, why am I not getting anything? Sit still, close your eyes, 3 deep breaths, in through the nose and exhale. Let it all out. Breathe in through the nose, exhale, in through the nose, exhale. Because you're going to find once you start breathing, boom, clarity. Things are open. Because I've done readings where I've had people sit in front of me and just be those type of people who like to stump the psychic, as they say, and sit there and cross their legs and cross their arms and like, so what are you going to tell me? And even me, I'll go like, and I catch myself and I'm like, okay, I'm putting the cards down and I'm not hearing anything. I'm like, anybody working today? Hello? What's going on? And they go, you're not breathing. And I go, oh. And then I just take a nice deep breath. Let it go. Look down at the cards and I listen. Okay, so this is what I have to tell you. And it just comes. It just comes. So if you're feeling stuck, breathe. Remember to breathe. No breath, no messages. All right, so that I'm going to leave you. Okay, but that was important. I needed you to know that. So again, thank you for listening. Check out the website. And again, help me out a little bit. If you have somebody you know who could benefit from listening to any of my podcasts, my videos, share them. You never know, because I get messages all the time where I've done my little 1-minute videos sometimes, and like, oh my God, I needed to hear that today. Thank you so much. You never know who may need to hear that. So help a person out by sharing her stuff, okay? Let's help more people. That's what it's about. Help more people. Because everybody needs it once in a while. And you never know who might need it and when. So thank you again. I will see you next Thursday. Have a wonderful week and stay cool. It's supposed to be really warm. Take care, everybody.